So in the last session, we have already discussed about three-tier architecture. So today we'll be starting about HTML. So what is meant by HTML basically? What is mean by hypertext or what is mean by markup language? So whenever someone says what is mean by, someone asks what is mean by HTML, you will blindly say hypertext markup language. But you should know what is meant by that hypertext or what is meant by that markup language basically. Okay. So basically, if you open any website, so if you want to read it from one product to another product, or if you want to go from one page to another page, or if you read it from one login to register or anything, so what you will do? If you want to do anything, what you will do in the website? Everything will be clicking the links, right? So if you want to open a product, I'll click on the product link. If I want to open a login page, I'll click on the login page. If I want to log out, I'll click on log out. So everything here is a links that will be called as hyperlinks. We call them as. So basically, a web page is completely about hyperlinks. Every event can be done by using this hyperlinks. So that is the reason why here what happening, we are not, the links are different from the normal text. No, right? The text, whatever you are viewing as a link, and the text which is not work as a link, both will be look same only. For example, if you take Amazon, one of the product page, okay, price also will be in the same color and the same format. At the same time, the product name also will be in the same color and same format, but product name will work as a link and price will work as a nothing. It was just a normal text, right? So here what happening, it is our choice which one we want to convert into a hyperlink. So whether you want to convert the anchor tag, whether you want to convert a paragraph, or what is the text that you want to, whether I want to convert a price or anything it may be. So what I want to convert to a link, that can be decided by myself. So here the whole web page just will be always about hyperlinks. So here the normal text is converting into hyperlinks. So that is the reason why here we'll be calling it as a hypertext. So coming to the markup language. So markup language is not mentioning only about HTML. So it is about the languages that can be understandable by both human beings at the same time with the browser. Don't get confused. It is not about computer. It is about browser. So the languages that can be understandable by both browsers and the human beings, and which is can be readable automatically the same way that the user reads. So that language can be called as a what languages? Hmm? Markup languages. So that is the reason why. So here it is a combination of hyperlinks and the markup language. So that is the reason why it is called as a hypertext markup language. Got it? So that is the reason why the whole thing will call as a hypertext markup language. It is a combination of hyperlinks and markup languages. Got it? So that is the definition of HTML. So what is the version of HTML? Current version. Hmm? So how many versions are there totally HTML? Hmm? How many versions? So there are totally 7 versions of HTML. So HTML 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, XHTML, D dynamic HTML, and latest updated one. That means HTML version 5, 5.0. Got it? So these are the all the versions of HTML. So HTML5 is the latest and the standard version that we have using from past so many years. Got it? So there are totally 5 versions of HTML. So okay, there are HTML, JavaScript, everything is there. So how we can create the code basically? So that is what we need to know first of all. Okay. క్లాస్ ఇప్పుడే స్టార్ట్ అయింది అటు పక్క ఖాళీనే ఉంది నచ్చలేదు So just imagine, so we want to write the code. So whether it is leave about HTML or JavaScript or Java, whatever it may be. The first of all, we need to know where we need to write code, first of all. So for everything, there will be if I want to travel, I have a medium of vehicles. If I want to eat, I have my hands. So in the same way, if you want to type a code, I need some platform where I can type my code. So that platforms are called as the code editors, we call them as. So the code editors are like Visual Studio is there, Notepad++ is there, like Then what autumn is there, brackets is there, next to sublime text is there, next what is we have, eclipse is there. So like that. So there are code, it's like as you said, Visual Studio will be there, Autumn is there, brackets is there, Eclipse is there, next Notepad plus plus is there, Sublime Text, like that. Any code editor you can take. So it is not like we have to take a particular code editor. No company will push you to take a only this code editor. So you can choose anything because it is all about your comfort. So most of the people, 75 to 85% of the developers in the world will use the Visual Studio. Why? Because Visual Studio will have a huge library and huge extensions which you can use, whether it is a Python, whether it is a C++, anything it may be. It have a huge extensions which will help us to run the code in such a way that it which not all the other editors can do. So, okay, so I recommend you to go with the Visual Studio. Okay, so then, so for example, if I want to create a code, so what is the difference between a Word file and a PDF file generally? PDF file is not editable. What is a Word file? So it can be editable. So how can you differentiate between a PDF file and a Word file? Dot extension. So basically, so whatever the file, whatever the thing that you do in your system, like whether it may be image or whether it may be a like a Word files or documents or PDFs or Excels or HTML files, JavaScript, C++, any files it may be. So what makes the difference between file to file is it's all about the extension that we provide to the particular file. So the same file, like I give like demo dot doc, if I give it will be a Word file. The same file name I will give like dot PDF. It will act as a PDF. So like that, the page based on the extension, whatever the extension that you give. So based on that extension only, the behavior of that particular product will change, right? So how a dog will behave, how a cat will behave, because based on their gender and based on their animal category, they'll behave their own behavior, they'll show. In the same way, so based on the extension that you give, so whether if it's a .html, it will act as a HTML file. If you give .css, it will act as a CSS file. If you give .js, it will act as a JavaScript file. Like that, based on the extension only, we'll create the files also here. So if we just see, so when I first create any file and when I'm trying to save it, so it will be in the format of text format only. So whether it may be in your system, whatever the file you create basically, so it will be the format of .text format. So while saving, you need to know which format you need to save. If you see here, there are different formats I can save it. See, JavaScript, React, JSON. See how many formats are there. So these many hundreds of formats that I can create my file. C++, Java, Oracle, PowerShell, PHP, Perl 6, Object C++, Markdown, anything it may be. So it is all about the extension. So how you are saving that file. So while creating the file, it will be basically a text file. But after creating a file, how we are saying that particular file. So that is what makes the difference between one coding file to another coding file. So now I want to go with a HTML. So what is the format I need to give? So HTML. So what I'll give? I'll just give like file name, introduction dot, what is the extension I need? So I'll directly give HTML. So now if you see, so I have got created with my HTML. Okay. So before jumping into the structure of HTML, so we must have to know what is the advantages and disadvantages that we got with the previous HTML to present HTML. So because every version, if you take any product, there will be old versions and a new version. Okay, right? So if you take WhatsApp as an example, so what is the when the first time WhatsApp is get launched, so what are all the features that we have? Only sending a message and receiving a message. We don't know when the message is sent. We don't know whether the user seen or not. If we given a reply, then we have to understand that okay, he has seen the message and given the reply. So later on, we got the update of seeing the time. Later on, we got the update of seeing the tick mark. Later on, we got update of status. Later on, we got videos. Later on, we got deleting the message. Later on, now we got the feature of disappearing the message of 24 hours. So like that, every day the new features are getting added. right? So in the same way, HTML also, so based on the issues that we faced in the previous version, so every version given one update. So if you go with the first one, if you go with the disadvantage that we faced in the previous versions of HTML is, first one is the responsiveness. So responsiveness is nothing but, for example, if you open Flipkart in an app, if you open Flipkart in a mobile, if you open Flipkart in a tab or iPad, is there any difference? So the website will be, the layout may change. Okay, in the mobile, all the products, each line will have one product per row. In the iPad, you can see 2 products side by side. In the laptop, you can see 4 products side by side. In the iPad, you can see 3 products side by side. Because based on the width, the products are increasing per row, and based on the width of the screen, again, my layout is getting constructed automatically. So that will be called as the responsiveness. So whatever the website you create, whether it may be using HTML or Bootstrap or Angular or React or anything it may be, the first and foremost rule that you need to remember is your website must and should be responsive. Responsive in the sense that if the user, if we don't know whether the user will open in which device he'll open. He may be open in the mobile, he may be open in the very low case mobile, he may be open in the high-end mobile, he may be open in the tab, iPad or laptop. In laptop also there'll be different variations. So whichever the device he may access that particular website, the website should not get issues. The layout should be properly aligned. So that will be called as a responsiveness. So in the first version of HTML, when the first HTML is introduced, the version there is no responsiveness. It is a full of issue. Why? Because so they don't know how to deal with the responsiveness. So what they used to do is, for example, what is the biggest mobile market in India? Which brand in the world? Which brand? Apple. Second, Samsung. So Apple is the biggest brand. So in the laptop, same, Apple will be biggest brand. So what they used to do is, based on the previous time in the using HTML first version, whichever the biggest market mobile brand in the market and what is the latest version of that mobile brand, so they'll you create a web page based on that device. For example, so if I see I have a MacBook Pro, at that MacBook M1 at the time, if you see, so they'll check what is the screen width of that particular device. So based on that screen only, they'll develop the website for laptops. So again, they'll do one more website for mobile device. So based on the mobile which is there in the market, high brand mobile and the latest one, based on the dimensions of that mobile, they used to create the website. So for tabs, they'll choose one of the tab. At the time Samsung is there, so they used to take the Samsung or any brand it may be. So they used to take the biggest market brand and which is the latest one, and they used to create the website. Okay, so like that, there is only one website. Just imagine Flipkart is only one website, but I'm creating 3 different websites because one is for Flipkart, one is for one is for mobile, one is for laptop, and one is for tabs. Okay, so due to this, what happened? The code is writing of the code time is increasing, and I'm writing the same code again and again for multiple devices. Okay, so that is what happened in the previous versions of HTML. So once in the CSS3, we got with this media queries, we came to know about this responsiveness. So after that, what people used to become is, it became very easy in the HTML5 to create the responsive web pages. So what we used to do is, so I'll create only one page, but based on my requirement, I'll change it. Simply to say, which one we call it as. So we just take beanbag as an example. So if you want to sit normally, I can use it as a normal leaning beanbag. If you want to use it as a while using a system, I can use it as a while using system. I can use it in the hall. I can use it anywhere. So the product is one only, but what I'm using based on my usage, I'm changing that product from one place to another place, right? So in the same way, what happening? So the website will be only one time I'll create, but the layout based on the screen weight, I'll change the dimension and I'll adjust the same layout automatically. So how I'll do it? By using this media query that we are going to learn in the further classes. So if they ask like how you can convert, what is the thing that will convert a normal page to a responsive web page? Nothing but media queries. So media queries will help us to convert a normal web page into a responsive web page. So that is one of the issue that we faced in the previous versions, which got completely solved in the latest version of HTML and combination of CSS3. So next one will be the layout system. So previously they don't know how to create a web page. So what they used to do, they used to create the whole web page by using the concept of table. So just imagine if you want to create a very good drawing by using just tables, is it possible for you? So you want to draw a picture by using a tables only. Like I need to create a table and I need to adjust that as a image. Is it possible? It is possible, but it will take very hard and it will not look that much good. So that is what happened here also. So they used to create a table concept as a web page concept to create any web page. So due to this, what happens? It will take more time and the web pages will also not looking that much good to create a web page. So that is where again latest layout concept came into the picture, like flex, float, and grid are the latest layout system that we got in the CSS3, which will help us to create the good looking layouts of a web page. Okay, so this is also one of the disadvantages that we got in the previous versions, and now we got it resolved with the latest layout systems. So next one will be local storage. So previously, for example, if you just imagine, so when you're using the old Nokia phones, if you're using any web page continuously, you're using any website. So what happens after a few days, the app will get slowed down and mobile will get hang. So again, you need to remove that some cache and storage you will be removing in your local storage. So why this is because so every time when you visit a web page, what happens? Some unwanted cache will be stored in the background. So if it is storing in the online, it is okay. But what happens at the time? There is no local storage technique. So automatically what happened? The complete storage will be storing in the browser. So due to this, what happens? So the burden on the browser will be more. So if you just take an example, at the day one, if you just imagine the browser size is 10 MB, after a few days it will be 200 or 300 MB. Why? Because the background cache is getting stored. So that much cache, if it is storing on a particular app, what happens? The RAM, it is consuming more RAM. Automatically, the mobile will become slow. The performance of the browser also will become slow. So how it is resolved? The local storage concept is introduced in HTML5. Due to this, what happens? So whenever a user is using any app, so instead of storing the data in that particular app, instead of that, I'll store the data in my local storage because the local storage I have a huge data like 20 GB, 30 GB will be there. So in that, if I store the data, it will not going to affect the browser because now the browser will be completely free of space. So what they will have very KBs of data will be stored in the browser. So due to this, what happens? The complete burden is falling on the storage of the local storage. It's not on the particular browser storage. So due to this, the browser will work fast and the complete browser rendering will be very low. Okay, so that is the one of the advantage that we got in the HTML5. So next one is the JavaScript compatibility. So before HTML5, there is no browser supports the JavaScript. So the JavaScript doesn't have a basic search engine or basic JavaScript engine to run any scripts in the browser. So that is where in the later on versions of HTML3, 4, 5, we got this JavaScript. So now in the HTML5, so the basically we have a compatibility of predefined JavaScript engine. So for example, whatever the website you may develop, okay, so there are multiple frameworks and languages like C++, Java and all, but browser will not understand that and all. So for designing part, browser will understand only HTML. For styling part, it will understand only CSS. For functionality part, it will understand only JavaScript. So whether it may be Opera, whether it may be a Chrome, whether it may be a Mozilla, any browser if you take, these are the three only things that the browser can understand. So whether you write in a Java or Oracle, by default, what happens while executing the code, it will be converted into the functionality will convert into JavaScript, and the layout system will convert into HTML, and styling will be converted into CSS because browser will not understand apart from these three. Other than any of these three, the browser will not understand. Got it? So whatever you write, whatever the language you write, so finally the complete code can be converted into these three only: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Why? Because the browser will not understand any other languages and frameworks. Got it? So next advantages that we got is previously we don't have the capability of uploading multimedia to our web pages, multimedia and For example, PNGs, maybe videos, maybe audios, maybe like web images, maybe zips, maybe this and all. It will be no compatibility. So there is no option that I can upload this all to my web page. So I only option that I have is the of uploading the images. That is the only option I have. But now, if you see in the HTML5, we have the advantage of using the images. I can use videos, I can use web images, I can use zip images, I can use anything, I can use it to my web pages. Okay, that is also one of the advantages that we got in HTML5. So like this, we got n number of multiple features that we got in this HTML5. So one of the latest version we got is the lazy loading. So what is meant by this lazy loading is, as I told you yesterday, for the dynamic pages or dynamic websites, we use the SPS, single page applications. So what it will do? So instead of reloading the whole website, it will just change the content based on my requirement, right? So in the same way, what is this lazy loading in HTML will do is, so for example, I am uploading 100 images. So I may be not using all the 100 images at a time, not using all the 100 CS pages of CS at a time. For example, one image I'm using in the home page, remaining 30 images I'm using in the product page. So when I'm in the home page, do I need to run the upload and reload the like product page images? No, right? Because I'm not viewing them. So I need to load only the images which I'm seeing in front of me, that page images. So that is what this lazy loading will do. What it will do. So whatever the page that user is using, so based on whatever he is using, that image only it will load. Remaining all it will become, it will hide them in the background. So due to this, what happens? So it will not consume more network. So due to this, the page loading will be more fast, and the page also will be loading very quickly, because I am just loading the pages or images or videos only whichever that I'm accessing, whichever I wanted to see at the particular page. So remaining page images, so scripts and CSS, everything will be hidden in the background. So that is what this lazy loading will do. So like that, there are n number of other advantages and disadvantages that we got with this latest version of HTML. Okay. So now what you need to do, you try to check what are the latest versions and disadvantages, advantages that we got in the HTML. Okay. Okay. So this is the basic structure of HTML. Okay. So what you need to do first of all, okay. So second thing, so try to check all the advanced features of HTML5. Got it. So these are the two tasks that you need to done. Okay. So next what we got. So next one of the advantage we got is a semantic tags. Okay. Semantic tags is one of the concept that we got in HTML5. So for example, if I want to, this is also a laptop and yours, there are other Windows laptops also there. So what makes difference between one brand to another brand? Hmm? Then what else? Structure, then so leaving this and all, name is what makes difference between one laptop brand to another. Dell will have a Dell brand. Name is Lenovo, Lenovo name. Apple, Mac. So the name is what makes and gives the proper definition of that particular product, right? So in the same way, previously before HTML5, the people used to develop the web pages by using its normal different like same type. For example, if you want to develop a header, I need to use a div only as a main separator. For photos, I use div only. Like that, there are fixed tags they used to do. But in the HTML5, there is a semantic tag concept came into the picture. So what is meant by semantic tags means the tags that will give proper meaning to the name. Okay, so that is what mean by semantic tags. Okay, so what is mean by the semantic tags is like header. If I give a header, that means that it will clearly mentioning it is a header. If I give footer, it means that it is mentioning that it is a footer, aside, sidebar, like that. The tag whichever I'm using, it is representing its name directly. So that is what these semantic tags will do. So basically what these semantic tags will do is it will give a proper meaning to the name of the particular tag. So that is what semantic tags will call as. So those also will get introduced in this HTML5. So these are some of the advantages that we got in the HTML5. You try to check what are the latest features we got in HTML5 and what are the tags and all we get introduced in HTML5. Okay, so next task, I want you to list down all the HTML5 tags. I want HTML5 tags to be listed down. What are you try to note down what are all the new tags that we got in HTML5? Okay, got it. Is it clear? So is there any doubts so far? ఇప్పుడు చెప్పిన ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా? అర్థమైందా? Okay, so I'll do one thing. Tomorrow I'll explain the structure and tags and రేపు స్టార్ట్ చేస్తాను. ఈ రోజు వద్దు. ఫస్ట్ ఇవన్నీ చెక్ చేయండి. సో మీకు ఒక ఐడియా వస్తుంది HTML అంటే ఏంటి. So also what you need to do is check the structure of the HTML5. HTML5 స్ట్రక్చర్ ఇదే స్ట్రక్చర్ వేరేది ఏం కాదు. ఆ స్ట్రక్చర్ లో ఒక్కొక్కటి ఏం చెప్తుంది, డాక్ టైప్ ఏం చెప్తుంది, HTML ఏం చెప్తుంది, మెటా ట్యాగ్ ఎందుకు, ట్యాగ్స్ ఏమేమి వస్తాయి అవన్నీ క్లియర్ గా చెక్ చేసుకోండి ఒకసారి. ఓకే, సో టుమారో విల్ డిస్కస్ వాట్ ఈస్ దిస్ కంప్లీట్ థింగ్ అబౌట్ దిస్ HTML అన్న. ఓకే, స్ట్రక్చర్ ఏంటి అది నేను మళ్ళీ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తాను. క్లియర్? గాడ్.